So before you spend a few $1,000,000 entertaining your clients soon at the Super Bowl with the skybox that you bought, you need to know the idea in this video. Otherwise, every penny and every minute will be squandered. Look, I don't care if you're just going down the corner to a sports bar and taking a client there for a couple of $100. The same is true. Hi, I'm David Martin, and for the last 25 years, I've worked with people like you, people who are committed to transform your business. You can see something is so much better. And in the process, you hope to make things better for your customers and your community. And you know that it's going to be difficult. This virtual leadership library is built to help you both avoid those obstacles, as well as when you do get knocked down, to be able to get yourself back on track as quickly as possible. So the lesson in this video was probably best illustrated by an experience one of my customers had recently. Their sales team, they were a B2B company, and their sales team was able to acquire a key skybox at a big professional sports game. And so they wisely invited some of their key customers to attend so they could get some time with them. But they knew, look, we don't want it just to be the salespeople in the booth. We want to make sure that some of our internal team is there too. So they got the president to come, the COO, a couple of the heads of their lines of business that generated the most revenue, and then they had one more ticket that they just couldn't get rid of. So finally they offered it to the head of legal, because they knew that she was a fan of the team, even though she had no real customer-facing experience or responsibilities. She liked the team, so they wanted her to have a fun time as well. So after the game, the next week, the salespeople followed up with all their customers saying, hey, how'd it go? And to their surprise, who do you think that every single one of the customers fell in love with? We love that person. We want to spend more time with them. It was the head of legal, the person who had no customer experience and no customer responsibilities. The president was there, and he was very chatty, but he just kept wanting to talk about the business. The COO showed up, but he wanted to watch the game. The two heads of the lines of business were there, and for the first quarter, they chit-chatted, but they quickly realized that, hey, none of our biggest clients are here. They wanted to leave. But the head of legal, actually, even though she had a team on that was playing that really she was interested in, she took time to get interested. She talked to each of the customers, asked them about their stories, and got to know them. And of course, she's the one that everybody remembered. She was what I would call the most interested person in the room. Everybody else showed up with their own interests in mind and thought that they had to be, if they were going to speak, they thought they had to be interesting. But what she may not have known was that she was fulfilling a basic human need that even you and I have. Even the most wealthy people, the most famous, important people in the world have this need, because we're all wired for it. We are social beings, and we all need to know that we matter. We have a basic need of being seen. Well, the president, the COO, didn't do a very good job of helping people feel seen. The two heads of the lines of business certainly didn't. But the head of legal was interested, the most interested person in the room, and every single customer remembered her because they felt seen with her. Tell me this isn't going to matter when you go to the Super Bowl. We tell ourselves, well, we need to get them the autographed ball. We need to have the former MVP of one of our previous Super Bowls show up and shake their hand and pose for pictures. We need to wine and dine them. But if you don't make them feel seen, every single moment and every single penny will be squandered. But there's another reason why being the most interested person can help you, and that's it removes the pressure. One of my other clients, this is 10 years or so ago, had a lot of success. He was the chief operating officer of a company. And they had been able to, he and his team had been able to, in a few years, greatly reduce cost of operation. They shortened the cycle time for deliveries to customers. And they'd also greatly improved their NPS scores, their Net Promoter Scores, which is a customer satisfaction measure. And so they had a lot of success, and it was a very public business that they ran, not just publicly traded, but public. So a lot of people saw it happening. An operations organization had their annual conference in Las Vegas coming up, and so they asked him to come and be the keynote speaker and tell his story of how he did it. I mean, most of the members were academics, so they had never actually done it. They knew the theory behind it, but they wanted to hear and learn from him, what did he do to apply these ideas? What worked and what didn't? But my client didn't want to go. He's like, why do you not want to go? Don't you want to speak to these people? You'll be a rock star. He says, yeah, I'm fine with that, but I don't want to go because they want me to go to dinner the night before. I don't know what I'm going to say to these people. They're all PhDs. They know way more than I do. What am I going to talk about? And I offered him this solution. I said, hey, instead of thinking about what you have to say to be interesting, what if you were just the most interested person at your table? Or if it's a cocktail hour, be the most interested person in the whole room. You know, you just ask questions, take a note. I mean, they'd love to have your attention, the rock star, on them. What do you think? How does that sound? I said, that sounds easy. Okay, great. Well, that was his plan. Of course, it went well. They loved him even more, and the speech went well as well. But more importantly, he probably would have blown the speech, or not at least been nearly as good at it, if he had been overly focused on, oh my God, what am I going to do at this cocktail party or this dinner the night before, which mattered very little in the big picture. Being interested not only helps the people that you're engaging with, it helps you, because you don't have to overthink how you're going to prepare. What am I going to say? What story could I tell? You're just present with the person. You listen, and you respond. So, by the way, if you haven't figured it out, this also works in dating and interviewing and engaging with your kids or with your spouse. So all you're doing is you're giving that person what they need, what our own basic need is, which is to be seen. So if you're entertaining and spending millions of dollars on the Super Bowl, and you want your team on the field to win, I want your team in the booth to win. And the way you're going to do that is to be the most interested person in the room. That's my challenge to you. So I would love to hear from you how it goes, and because I am interested in your results. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.